Boxing Day. So there's a funny, I hate this word, I'm not going to say it, feeling in the air. I was going to say vibe, but I hate that word. On Boxing Day, always feels a little bit melancholy, I guess. Especially with the weather. The weather's gross in Australia here. Well, I'm talking for all of Australia. It's a big country, but a lot of the East Coast. I think the West Coast too is not great, which is kind of annoying. A lot of rain. Anyway, I'm whinging already. How was your Chrissy? Ours went great. We went over to the family house. We had some pastries and fruit for breakfast, and then had like some seafood around lunchtime, and then the main meal at like 3 o'clock, I guess. I tasted a fruitcake competition of the neighbours. It was quite fiercely competed. I wasn't quite expecting it to be that serious. I had to taste 10 fruitcakes. There was a couple of clear standout winners and a couple of clear runners-up, shall we say. But that was good. That was a bit of fun. We played some games. We always play games. Even we play a lot of cards normally when just generally sitting around as a family. Pretty competitive bunch. But the girls had kind of set up this whole series of games that we played. Marty took it out. Marty always takes that stuff out. He's really annoying. Nah. He's also like, we played a bit of trivia in the past. Well, I'm not great at trivia, but he's very good at trivia. Very, very good mind. So that was fun. Yeah. And we just kind of hung out. I came back here, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something. Caitlin clicked on with Duck. I think she kind of enjoys waking up on Boxing Day with all her sisters and family and stuff, which is fair. Very nice, very wholesome. Yeah, and then I'm going to go for a run now. I feel a bit gross. I didn't exercise yesterday. I don't know if I exercised Christmas Eve either. It's not very often I go 2 days in a row without doing a workout lately. I'm going to get back on the bandwagon. My diet now, as everyone says, I'm sure, on Boxing Day. But I can be pretty good with it, and then I can blow out pretty easy. And the only thing that I've found that works with my diet is I have to count calories, because otherwise I just overeat. Doesn't matter how many, and you can't like out exercise a bad diet, right? And I overeat bad stuff, right? Like I love bad food. I love lollies and chocolate and cake, you know. Like, who doesn't love that stuff, right? And I'm surrounded by it, so anyway, we'll get back on that bandwagon. And then I've got a few, I mean, technically we're not working for 2 weeks. I will still have work to do, but there's a few projects around the house that I want to get done. My big chopping board, you probably can't see it, but that's in desperate need of some love. So I'll sand that back and re-varnish it, re-stain it, I should say. I try and do that to the boards once a year if I can, and it's probably not necessary for everyday chopping board, but that thing gets hammered, just gets used so much that it kind of is necessary. There's a few other things around the house I wouldn't mind getting done, but we'll see. Well, I've still got my recipes to write. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go run 10Ks and we'll check back in later. Alright. So I went for a run. It was hard. And I have no idea whether this is pointing at me or not. I'm assuming it is. Yeah. So running's like a lot of things in life. Most things in life. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days, and today it was a bad day. I have like a little loop, like a 10K loop that I do around where we live, and I can normally run it no problem, but today I had to stop a few times. It also was really hot, so it was very humid, very sweaty. Anyway, we got that done, And then I have just been around the house all afternoon, so fixed the fence post, vacuumed and mopped the garage, the garage. Put a mirror on the wall that Caitlin wanted, did a bunch of tidying, and then I was just chilling on the couch, and I got a message from Rob, my father-in-law, wanted to know if I wanted to go for a kite surf. The wind looks pretty good. Haven't kite surfed for a few years, so I'm sure it's like riding a bike. How hard can it be? So we'll go see what that wind's doing and maybe get out in the water just for a little cruise. Usually we do downwinders, but I haven't had a kite session in a while. Maybe not a few years, maybe a year and a half. So I don't think I'll do a downwinder today, but I'm keen to get out in the water and see what happens. See if I've still got it. I survived. I kind of took my camera thinking I could try and get some shots, but it was pretty chaotic. But we got out there. I had a session, the first time in years, which was really fun. It is like one of those things like riding a bike that I'm always a bit nervous going into it until you get out there, and then it just comes flooding back, all the muscle memory. So me and Rob were out there for like, not even that long, maybe 40 minutes once we pumped up and got set up. It was like windy and then really gusty, so it's like pretty good conditions. But it's a bit gusty considering I haven't ridden in so long. But I didn't hurt myself, which is always a bonus. And neither did Rob, which is always a bonus. He's a weapon. He's one of those guys. He's like, he's got a few years on me, and he will outrun me any day. But yeah, so kiting's, when you kite, you judge the wind speed, then it depends on how fast the wind's going as to what size kite you run. So a guy my size, I usually run either a 9 or a 12 meter kite. On occasions I've run a 7 meter kite too, when it's been really, really windy. Usually my ideal day is like solid wind, 20 knots, 9 meter, I'm pretty happy. I pumped up my 12 meter today for some reason, and I shouldn't have, and all my gear has been like sitting in Rob's garage for years. So like stuff wasn't working, my harness was seized up, the bag that my kite lives in, the zip had seized up. I had to just cut the bag open to get the kite out. But yeah, it's a fun hobby, it's a fun sport. But it's like the learning curve of learning how to kite is really hard. It's really complicated. Well, maybe it was hard for me. I don't know, maybe not for everyone, but I think universally it's kind of a tricky thing to figure out how to do. But it's one of those skills that I love to have, and it's good to get out there every now and then and just remember. I've got to remind myself to do it more often because I really enjoy it. It is a bit of a faff about to get everything set up and then get set down, but packed down, I should say. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And kiting's one of those sports that I love because, if you can probably tell, my mind doesn't stop, right? So I'm always thinking about work or just being methodical, planning goals. My mind's always going, right? Like I find it very, very hard to switch off. And I'm not complaining about that. That doesn't bother me. I don't, I just have come to the conclusion that that's how I operate, and that's cool. But kiting is one of those things. One of the negatives, and it's a negative that I'm learning to deal with, I've talked about it a lot before, is that my mind wanders a bit. So I struggle to concentrate, right? Like for long periods of time. Caitlin can sit in her computer for 8 hours. If she's got stuff to do, admin-y, computer-y stuff, she can sit in a computer for 8 hours and just focus on that task. I cannot do that, right? And I think it was the old school kind of mythology that we were like, well, just figure out how to do it. But the reality is some people just aren't wired that way. The reason I like kiting is you are forced to do nothing but focus on the task at hand. If you don't, you will hurt yourself or put yourself in some pretty serious danger. So you're out on the water, you're on the ocean, right? It's not, you're not in a lake.
the kiting that we did today, which is just like twin tip up and down, and you know, it's not too bad. But when we do downwinders, you're out in the waves, you're out in the back of the waves, riding waves in. It's not a joke, right? Like, you need to kind of focus on what you're doing and be very thoughtful about, you know. So, but that's why I like it, I think, because you're forced to you have no choice but to focus on that one thing. And I always finish a kite session absolutely cooked, like so tired, right? Like, I will sleep so well tonight. So you're wearing a harness, and then you've got a massive kite on 22 meter lines that you're flying. So you're concentrating where your kite is, you're concentrating your feet, where your feet are, what direction you're going, where you're trying to go. You know, if you're trying to do tricks, I didn't do any tricks today because I was never very good at tricks, but I also really didn't want to hurt myself. Yeah, but it's one of the things that I can do. It's probably the only thing, I think, that I do that I completely switch off. So when I'm running, which, you know, I enjoy doing as well, mine's still going. That's why I kind of enjoy it, because you're in your own head. Same with cycling, you can kind of think a bit. It's a little bit more cautious when I'm cycling. The gym's turned into, for me, a nice social release. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't muck around in the gym, we get the work done, but there's a kind of social release there for me. But kiting is that thing that, once you're out on that water, you are locked in. You can't think about anything. You can't think about how well last night's video did. You can't think about tomorrow's video. You can't think about, you know, money problems. You can't think about anything else. But it's it's also, I remember how lucky you are that you're able to do that, right? I'm in a position that I can do that. It doesn't get by me, right? Like, I do realise how lucky I am. Yeah, in lots of ways, you know, like the fact that, you know, my father-in-law calls me and he goes, "Let's go for a kite," you know, like, that's pretty cool. Like, not many people have that type of relationship with their father-in-law. Yeah. So, successful couple of days of Chrissy. Got through Chrissy, everyone was fed well, watered well. Nice day today. I got a whole bunch of work done this morning after my run. Tidied up the garage, put away a whole bunch of camera gear, big camera gear that I kind of have been meaning to, and then got out for a kite and got to completely, like, legitimately switch off. So that's me. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and that's a pretty good feeling, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to go to the gym in the morning, I know that, but I'll chuck the camera at some point and have a rant or talk to you about something. Anyway, legends, go eat some delicious leftovers for dinner. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow, probably. Peace.